Hi everyone, and welcome to my screencast about social media. Big thanks to everyone that liked my post in the Underground Music Production group. Really great group, really enjoying it. All the conversations and posts are really cool, so pleased to be a part of it. What I'm talking about today is how to spend less time on social media and more time in the studio. What I'm going to do is maybe highlight some problems that you guys are having with social media and then provide some remedies to those. So quick thing about me, I'm Stefan, I'm a producer, I'm a DJ, and I run a record label as well. So I'm fully aware of all the things that get in the way of making music, like sitting on social media and promotion and admin and so on. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can help you guys out. Now, what we need to look at first is the problems. So the problems are spending too much time on social media. It's easy to get consumed. There's so many different sites, and all your friends are on there, and it can become quite a distraction. Also, you might feel that you're not getting the results that you want from social media, so you're spending more time on there because you're trying out things and they're not quite working, and you're getting frustrated. And you might also be new to it and not really know how to use it. There's lots of different sites and they all have different interfaces and different terminology, so that can get in the way and eat up valuable studio time. So what I'm going to do is look at some free tools on the internet that will hopefully help solve those problems. Just for the record, I'm not endorsed or employed by any of the companies that I mentioned. They're just services that work for me day to day. So yeah, let's start off then. The first tool I'm going to look at is Google Apps, specifically Google Drive. If you've got Gmail or you signed up to Google, you'll probably know about this. If not, get signed up. Google Drive's brilliant because you get 2 gigs of free storage, so great for sharing mixes and pre-masters and what have you. So I'm not going to go into how to use Google Drive because Google do a brilliant job of telling you how to use it, but I am going to create a spreadsheet. You're probably wondering why am I creating a spreadsheet? Well, what we need to do is just highlight a few things with your current social media usage and do an audit. It sounds incredibly boring, but I promise it won't take too long and it will set you up nicely for later on. So, created a new spreadsheet. I'm just going to call this social media audit and plan. Now, I've kind of jumped right in here. I did think about going into the theory of why I'm doing what I'm doing, but we could be here all day and it could be a number of videos, and I thought it'd just be better to jump straight in, show you guys some tips and techniques, so after the video you can go away, sign up and try them yourself, and hopefully they'll work for you. So yeah, back to this social media audit and plan. I'm going to list my social networks. You're probably wondering why. I know all the social networks I've got. Well, the thing is, there's so many, there's a temptation to sign up for as many as possible so you can get ahead of the competition or stand out in the crowd. Some get lost, some get forgotten. That Pinterest page you set up 3 years ago that you posted one thing to. Really, you need to look at all these social networks and think, do I need my Pinterest? Do I need my Google Plus? The answer might be yes, it might be no, but you've got to look at the reasons why. If you haven't updated a page for ages, there's a reason to it, and you might as well just deactivate it. You can always come back to it later and turn it back on. So I would recommend going through all your social networks and just cutting out the ones that you don't use and just focusing on the ones that you do. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at my Facebook, my Twitter, and Google Plus, which I'm still getting to grips with. But you could populate this with as many. YouTube, SoundCloud, they're all classed as social networks, so you can list them all. And then I'm going to quickly grab the URL for each. Now you're wondering, well, why is he doing that? I know the URL, my Twitter or my Facebook. You probably do, but we can't always get the URL that we want. So it's worthwhile noting it down, just so you have reference to it. with Google Plus, for example, they put a little plus before your username. There's nothing worse than making a post with what you think is your profile link, and then you send potential fans or customers to a page that either doesn't exist or is nothing to do with you. So making a note of them is good, because we don't want that to happen. So you go through all your social networks, list those down, go through them, look at the profile photos. Are they up to date? Update them. Are the biographies up to date? Update those too. The more you do now, the less you will have to do later. It'd be great, to show you a video of how you can, reduce your time straight away on social media, but you need to just spend a little bit of time now, just doing a bit of preparation, and then later on, you can spend 10-15 minutes a day and really capitalise on all your hard work. So next up, I'm going to list some key dates and events. The reason for this will become clearer in just a moment. But let's say you're a DJ or producer. If you're a DJ, you might have some gigs coming up. So you could put gig, burst of whenever. Whoops. Or your release. I'm just being generic here, but you can go into the details. If you're a label, you might want to put your release schedule here, because this is going to help you later on with some content ideas. Okay, so once we've got that information, we really need to look at how we're going to speed things up. Now, you might have heard of this, you might not have. Hootsuite, bit of an interesting name, but it is essentially a service where you can bring all of your social media networks into one interface. So, if you go into Twitter, you have to go to your notifications there. You have to go to discover hashtags there. You have to go to your feed there. And then your Facebook page, you've got to navigate that as well. Likewise with your Google Plus page. It can be a bit of a nightmare and time consuming, to be honest, especially if it's new to you. So in Hootsuite, what we can do, we can bring everything in here into one interface. The way they do that is you set up these tabs, and within the tabs you have streams. So let's jump straight in. I'm going to add my Twitter. Now, I previously added in my social networks, but if you haven't, you just click on Add Social Network. I'm going to add Twitter. You click there, it allows you to authorize and log into your account. I've already done that, so I won't do that. And then what you can do, select it here, and start adding in streams. It's going to add them in quickly, and I'll come back to what they will do and what they will mean. So I just added in some tabs there really quickly, and what this has done is, before I showed you on the Twitter page, I had to click through multiple pages to get different information. This has given me my news feed, any tweets that I mentioned in, any of my tweets that have been retweeted, my new followers, my inbox, and any scheduled tweets. I'll come back to that in just a moment. But that's really powerful, it's put everything next to one another. The new followers is great. I can see people that have followed me, I can reply to them, thank them straight away, and start a conversation. That's a really powerful feature. And what is also great is I can go, okay, I'm going to add my Facebook. I've already added in my social network, but you would click here, add social network as before. Let's add in some more streams. There we go. So within a few clicks, I've got all of my Twitter information and all of my Facebook information side by side. And you could do this for all of your social networks, and all of a sudden you've got access to every bit of data you need really, really quickly. That's what's really powerful about Hootsuite. Now, What you can also do is, social media is just as much about you as it is about other people and listening to what they're saying and having conversations. And it can be difficult to cut through the noise of social media. Now, I'm doing everything in Twitter at the moment. The same does apply for Facebook, but I thought I'd start off with Twitter. So what you can do is, let's say you're a DJ and you're into a certain genre of music. Let's set up a tab called genre listening. You can call these tabs whatever you want, but it will come clear why I'm calling it this. Now, instead of adding a social network, I'm going to add a stream. And what a stream is focusing on Twitter for a moment. Let's click search. We're going to search using this profile here. I can enter a search query. So let's say you're a DJ who likes deep house. I'll put that in inverted commas because if I search for just deep house, it's going to search for tweets with those individual words in, so it might not bring back anything to do with actually the genre deep house. Okay, so add stream. Now what that has done is it's looked at Twitter and it's given me feedback on all the tweets on Twitter at the moment that involve deep house. So, I can jump in straight away and start talking to these people. Or if I like what they tweeted, I can retweet it. And I can use this as content ideas to start more conversations and start to build my following. So this is starting to remedy those problems we talked about earlier, which is really cool. So let's add in another stream. Hashtags are popular on Twitter, often misused, but very powerful to cut through that noise of chatter. So let's do tech house. There we go. So any tweets with tech house, they're going to be here. So if I love tech house and I want to start talking to somebody who also loves it, we can start a conversation. If you're a record label releasing tech house, here's all your tech house fans. Potential customers? Probably. Right. What else can we listen to? We could... Okay, market research isn't a bad thing. So as a record label, you might be posting content that's not quite working. So you might want to see what your competitors are doing. But I don't like to use the word competitors because we're not really in competition. So, maybe the labels you look up to. So let's do label listening. So as before, we're going to add a stream. Still staying within Twitter. I'll probably do another video on Facebook if we feel it's necessary. But right, let's pick a label. Well, I'm quite into free range, so let's do a search for free range. Remember, inverted commas, because if you just type free range records, it'll probably bring up stuff about eggs or chickens, and then something to do with records. If that's what you want to search for, brilliant. If not, keep it in the inverted commas. So this now has provided me with all the tweets on Twitter that include that record label name. So I might find some interesting content ideas there. Or perhaps I could start a conversation with some of these people. You might also want to be a bit more specific and actually listen direct to what the label is saying. So let's go add stream, search. Now I know that Free Range's Twitter name is that, so let's add that in. So that has given me feedback now of tweets involving, or including, sorry, their Twitter username, and also tweets direct from them. So I might get some content ideas from that. Now if you're a DJ and you're looking at this, you can talk straight to the label. If a producer, you can talk to them as well. If there's some other labels you want to find, you're not sure of their Twitter name, just click on the search in the top right about Hypercolour. So looking through there, it might be in there, but what we could do find Twitter users. Yeah, that's them at the top. So got some key info here on Hypercolour. Really cool label. And they post cool stuff as well. So, you know, you can appreciate it, you can reply to them. You can use some of their ideas and see if you can adapt it to what you want to do, you know. Just market research, everyone does it. So that's the listening. And like I said, you know, you can add as many tabs as you want. You can listen to loads of stuff. It's really, really up to you. You can have different genre tabs, or you can just include all the genres. Within here, have all your favourite labels within here. It's entirely up to you. It's completely customizable, this interface, which is really cool. Another great feature is scheduling. Now, as artists, producers, labels, we have an international audience, and some of that audience are going to be awake when you're asleep, and vice versa. So, you know, best practice in social media is to have real conversations live and post, you know, as you go. It's not always possible when you're asleep. Well, it's not possible at all, unless you don't sleep. But you know, you can use scheduling to post some tweets to send to your audience in different countries. Take into consideration their you know, their time zone, and you can post some stuff up. So literally, all you do is, you know, let's say you could find a tweet within these streams that you set up, or you know, you might, I was reading this earlier, you might want to post this up. So you can go into the compose box. Don't worry about the social network you're going to post it to yet, but let's say July top festivals. Paste the link in, select the network you want to post in. I'm going to do it to Twitter. There we go. Scheduling is highlighted at the moment. You've got two options. You've got this auto schedule, which is really cool. What it does is it looks at all of your followers. It looks at when they post and when they're online, and that's when it will post it. So there's more chance of your tweet getting seen by them because they're going to be online at that time. This can work very well, or it can work not at all. It works very well when you have a very active audience and a growing audience. It doesn't work very well when you've got a very small audience or people who don't really use Twitter much. So just bear that in mind. So that's quite cool. You can turn that off and you can do traditional scheduling. So let's say this time next week I want to post at 10 PM. I literally select that, hit schedule, it's done. I can move on. If you want to check, just go back. Got some tweets in here I've scheduled already. So I was having a play around earlier. So this becomes really powerful as a producer. You know, if you've got a release coming out, you can refer back to your list that you made earlier, and you can plan some activity around it. You know, some tweets, post up your video. Obviously, the content will come through nearer the time, but you can put a framework in for some tweets. You know, get people going to your different social pages, and it just means you can spend, you know, 10 minutes one day scheduling 20 messages to go out over the course of a month, and spend the rest of your time, you know, in the studio. So that's really cool. Likewise, if you're a record label, you know, you could look at your release schedule, which you might put in here, and you can start to build campaigns on social media around your releases. And that spans across all the social networks that you've added in. So your Twitter, your Facebook, your Google+. You can integrate lots of other networks into this as well. Hootsuite's really powerful, but I'm not going to go into all that today because we'll be here for ages. Just wanted to give you guys, you know, a taster of what you can do. So yeah, that's the scheduling. Now, another important thing for, you know, seeing if, you know, getting the results you want, and you know, seeing if things are working is tracking what you do. There's a great service called Bitly. Probably seen it. A lot of people use it. Essentially, you put a link in here, and it gives you a short link like that. So I made one earlier. In fact, yeah, I posted a link earlier, and it gives me that little link there, which is quite nice to drop into a message because it's nice and short, so it keeps everything neat and tidy. We've got our own customized one, but which you can set up, but you know, you would just get bit.ly, that little link, instead of a massive long link like that. You know, some are even bigger than that. Wow, wouldn't want to post that. But just neatens things up, and also it attaches some stats to it. So you know, there's no point posting stuff that doesn't work. If it's not working, you've got to find out why. And you know, you can use information like these stats to get a picture of what's, you know, why isn't it working, or why is it working. So for example, I posted this link earlier. At 1 o'clock it got 2 clicks, at 7 o'clock it got 1. Now the stats might vary throughout the day, and you could start to work out, well, maybe my followers are more active at a certain time. You can go really in depth with stats, like, you know, geographic distribution, blah blah blah. The good thing about this is these are headlines, so you can come in here, you know, 30 seconds to a minute, have a look at a bar chart and see what time is best, and you know that's roughly what you've got to aim for with your posts for that day. It's just information that's going to help you get the most out of your posts. So yeah, track everything. Bitly has a mobile app, as does Hootsuite, as does Google Apps. So you know, you can do this on the move. That's another great way of saving time. I do most of my social media scheduling on the train on my way to work, and anything you schedule or work on will pop up in Hootsuite. So you can, you know, go in, check you've done it all right, and maybe amend it, add some more stuff in, or delete it, do whatever you need to. The mobile version of Hootsuite for Android and iPhone is really cool. You know, it brings across information that you set up in the online version. That's really, really quick. Just another way that you can free up time. You know, use the time when you're out of the studio, when you're on the move, you're on the train, you're on a lunch break, down the pub, you can just quickly, you know, schedule a message, or you know, it's using your time effectively. So yeah, check the apps out as well. They're really cool. So that's about it. I hope that's been useful for you. Just a quick recap then. The problems were spending too much time on social media, not getting the results you want, and not really knowing how to use it. So really, I think that's been remedied by, you know, spending too much time. Well, we've brought all the social networks into one interface, so we don't need to go through all the different pages with all the different buttons, functions and features. It's all here on one page. Got my Twitter next to my Facebook, next to my favourite genres of music, next to my favourite labels, and I can use all that information to start conversations, to repost content and get ideas. Not getting the results that you want, well, that's been remedied again by listening and seeing what is working for others. So you can use that information to your advantage and post something, you know, similar, and just to get some ideas. Not really sure how to use social media, or you know, the differences between them all. Well, again, this platform has brought everything into one place, and it is as simple as typing it in this box here and selecting the social network that you want it to go to there. That's it. You know, you can post to all of them at the same time. What's quite cool as well is when you select to Facebook, you know, it puts an image in, a title, and a little description there. Really powerful tool, and you know, it saves me time. I can, you know, spend 10 minutes a day looking at this, whereas before I was spending much longer. So that's it. Hope that was enjoyable, useful. Please give me your feedback. I'm really keen to hear it because it's my first video, and yeah, hopefully the first of many. So thanks for watching, and yeah, see you soon.